Cubs make another trade. We tell you about it next. Yeah.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, alongside Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making us your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and comment anything below. Pretty soon, we'll be at 12,000 subs. Pretty incredible. We do bring you some Cubs news to lead off another week here on the program. Last week of 2024, Sam.
Oh, yeah.
Cubs make a trade with the Marlins, acquiring Vidal Brujan for Matt Mervis. And we're going to give you the details right now. First reported by ESPN's Jeff Passan. Brujan was DFA'd about a week and a half ago, former top 100 prospect in all of baseball when he was with the Rays organization. But so far in the show, he has hit a career 189, despite some success at the highest levels of the minors. He does offer some versatility, second, short, and third. He's a switch hitter, has a plus arm, average defensively at all three of those spots, so we can get into some of those scenarios during this segment as well. And then Matt Mervis was a one-time success story for the Cubs after going undrafted in the shortened 2020 MLB draft, quickly ascended up the minor league ladder and even made the major leagues for what ended up only being a cup of coffee in 23, and then really whatever's less than a cup of coffee this past year. So, Sam, last week of 24 here, and Jed Hoyer is still dealing.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it that. First of all, last week of 2024, our last show of 2024 will be tomorrow. I'm going to have a little year-end review, Cubs style, so tune into that. Look, Matthew, I don't have much to say about this. This is nothing more than swapping two guys that had some upside once upon a time that have struggled at the big league level. You know, I talked about on Twitter how the Cubs have had bad luck with these sort of players. Maybe not bad luck, but bad execution. You know, I'm talking about the Eric Sogards of the world, the Jonathan VRs, the Zach McKinstrys. Remember, we gave up Chris Martin for Zach McKinstry. Chris Martin's been a pretty good reliever.
Pretty good. He's projected better than even Tanner Scott for 2025.
Yeah,
free agent relievers.
And so a lot of people got on me because they're like, well, this isn't that type of deal. Like, what do you expect? No, I'm just making the point that we haven't, we always talk about the margins, and, every now and then you need a Talkman type. You need one of these guys to be able to contribute. Will that be Brujan? I don't know. My guess would be is that he will be competing very hard to try and make the team. Right. That would be my guess. I don't view this as like, oh, is this the utility guy we were talking about? No, I don't think so. This is a 189 career hitter, so that would just be irresponsible if that was what they went in with. But look, this is to me more about Mervis. It didn't work out here. The only way Mervis had a path to be relevant on this 2025 Cubs is if something happened to Michael Busch, because they need that backup first baseman to be right-handed. You can't have Mervis and Busch together. It makes no sense. So, they just swapped, hey, this guy was once upon a time a good prospect. There's some upside there. Maybe same with Brujan. Let's swap. And I'm not expecting a whole lot, and I don't really want to discuss it anymore.
Well, let me close the book on Mervis as well then before we get to Brujan.
Yeah, sure.
Because he gets this new opportunity with the Marlins. I think that's good. Remember, the Cubs and Marlins had been talking trade. Excuse me as I hit my desk.
Nobody heard it. Nobody heard that. I didn't hear it either. That's more interesting than the trade, I'll tell you that. Hit it again. Hit the desk again, so we don't have to talk about the trade anymore.
The Cubs. What was I talking about again?
Something about Mervis.
See ya.
So Matt Mervis was on our show, actually.
Yeah, it was. He was our first,
Almost 2
he was our
years
first
ago.
guest. Yeah, thanks to him for that.
That was nice.
It was really nice that he did that.
The Cubs and Marlins were talking Jesus Luzardo. Remember, I speculated Mervis could be like a fourth piece.
I agree. Yeah, you were
So
right.
eventually, this actually came about as some type of trade.
Mm-hmm.
I can't understand why 2 years ago, remember he had all this buzz and hype around him?
They do.
And then they signed Eric Hosmer. And we're like, oh, lefty bat, Mervis is lefty. They play the same position. Maybe there's still a way he could make the opening day team in 23, right?
I remember.
2 weeks later, they signed Trey Mancini.
Oh boy.
Path completely blocked. I don't forgive the Cubs for that. Mervis eventually got called up after that abysmal national series in May. I remember you called me after one of my practices.
Yep.
And it was just too little too late. And I get it. Maybe he was a 4A guy. He didn't hit well. But shoot, 27 games that year, hit only 167, played a few games last year, actually. People forget that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think you're right about this Brujan acquisition because on the Cubs sheet entering the offseason was a catcher. They got Matt Theis. We said, hey, if Matt Theis is the
Right.
dude going into Sloan, that would be irresponsible. And you just used that word again 3-4 minutes ago with this one for Brujan. So
good point.
I see what you're saying there. I do think there's an outside chance they don't sign a Moncada or Rojas now because that room is crowded. You have Brujan, you have Workman, you have Mastro, you have Vasquez, you have Benjamin Cowles, who was added to the 40-man to protect him from the Rule 5. So I'm just, hey, I'm talking Cubs here.
No, I get it.
So I do think there's a chance, especially because he hits left-handed and he doesn't have options, that he could be given that chance. We got to restart.
No, we're good, man. No, I don't see that.
Well, I understand, but I think there's, as of December 29th, listen, I had a lot of some
get yourself together here. We got to show we're a big program. Clean it up.
I did a lot of research this weekend on free agents that I think for Friday.
No, I understand. Look, I understand what you're saying.
I also did my first opening day roster projection. I'm going to put that on the screen in a minute.
I think it's more that there just isn't a great fit externally for what we're talking about versus, oh, well, the room's crowded. I mean, okay, at the end of the day,
he could play third, though, is my point.
Yeah, he can. It's just like, I guess it's ironic because I think I've been one of the biggest Matt Shaw supporters, but I just don't know how I would feel if you don't trade Horner and Horner's at second and Matt Shaw is getting every day time, and our infield depth is Brujan.
It would be Brujan and Workman,
Mastro and Workman and Vasquez. That's our that's not enough depth for me. Like, I know it sounds crazy, but like I feel much better about a guy like Madrigal that I at least know can play the position and get a few singles every once in a while. I just don't think, and I just don't think that's a strong enough infield group. They need another guy. You don't ever want to wish injuries, but because, by the way, we don't even know if Horner's going to be healthy. So Shaw could start at second base. And then, so your opening day third baseman is going to be one of the gentlemen that you just mentioned against the Los Angeles Dodgers with everything that, we just traded for Kyle Tucker and are going to try and win now. And that's going to be our opening day third baseman. That doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah, no, it's well said. And I know this is early to do an opening day roster projection, but I do it to illustrate that they need 3 or 4 more guys.
Yeah, they have needs.
Especially in the infield and the bullpen, right? Because this is a conservative projection. This is anybody that's in the organization right now. It's not doing hypotheticals with possible free agents or anything like that when we project rosters. Even to the point of Rob Zastryzny and Cody Poteet getting the last 2 pen spots because Luke Little and Ben Brown, all due respect, and I'm glad they're getting healthy, what is their status? What is the Cubs' plan? Zastrzewski has no options left. Poteet, I'll need to double check. So here's the projection as of the December 29th. This is the earliest we've projected an opening day team. But you can see right there that the Cubs have work to do with an infield group of Bush, Horner, Swanson, Shaw, Workman, and Brujan. And then a bullpen of Hodge, Miller, Morgan, Pearson, Thompson, Merriweather, Rob Z, and Poteet. Then you have Javier Assad in the fifth spot. So that's your opening day roster, Sam. Any thoughts here?
Yeah.
When you see the roster like that, right, for the first time,
well,
you're not
look,
having a great reaction. I might have to screenshot that.
Go Cubs.
Well, no, it's New Year. It's not even New Year's. Listen,
Happy New Year, by the way.
Yeah, you as well. It's hey, last year around this time, some busy things happening for you.
1 year anniversary coming up.
I was at that wedding. Look, it's so early. Like, you could go find these guys in February, March. I'm not worried about utility stuff. I'm not worried about depth stuff. My main concern right now, and this is because I'm a paranoid Cub fan, was the Tucker acquisition a council type to get everybody excited, but that was actually the big thing? Or are we going to go out and spend more money, find a way to get another very solid starter, find another way to get at least one more very reliable reliever, and then go from there? That, and my timeline for that is CubsCon. If that does not happen,
good.
If that does not happen by CubsCon, I will be actually officially concerned. Right now, it's just
that's fair
going through my head. As far as the infield stuff,
it's only 19 days away.
These guys know what they're doing. They're going to have enough depth and get it figured out. I'm not worried about the outfield with Alcantara, and you still have Canario there. But, that infield group obviously left a little bit to be desired.
It's really not as early as I would have thought with all this stuff. Like you mentioned, the CubsCon timeline is fair. It's only 19 days away. And then I'm hearing that the Cubs pitchers and catchers are going to report either on Super Bowl Sunday or the next day, February 9th or 10th, with the first full squad workout a few days later on that Friday. Remember, their first official game is Thursday, the 20th of February. So we're really just around the corner here. All right, coming up next, speaking of around the corner, eventually there will be real baseball played. It was a big signing out west over the weekend. Let's talk about that a little bit and explain why that could be important for the Cubs. Stay tuned. Hey, today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Did Rocket Money help you find any subscriptions you forgot about or that you were paying for twice? That definitely happened to me. I had a few subscriptions that I didn't even realize I was still paying for, and Rocket Money made it so easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place, whether it's subscriptions, spending habits, or even the goals you want to hit in 2025. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 per year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Do that today, especially as we go into the new year here of 2025. rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Friday into Saturday, the Diamondbacks signed Corbin Burns to a 6-year, $210 million deal. The Diamondbacks were not on the radar for Burns, who elects to stay home. He literally lives down the street. It was said to be he is prioritizing a team that has their spring home, but now he signs with a team that their full-time home is right by his wife and kids. So Burns is a Diamondback. That's the largest deal in that franchise's history, makes them a lot better, and really hurts the Giants, who offered actually Burns more money, according to the reports. The Giants and Blue Jays offered more money. Orioles and Red Sox were also in on Burns at one stage of the process, Sam. First, your initial reaction to that deal, and then I want to talk about it from a Cubs perspective. Maybe you will do that anyways, but I want to talk about it in terms of the schedule.
Yeah.
Because the Cubs will open their U.S. schedule against Burns.
I laughed. It was late Friday night. I was awake, and I laughed because it reminded me of last offseason, Tom, comparing us to the Diamondbacks and, their 84 win campaign and how we could be them if all things go well. Now,
that's right.
And now all of a sudden the Diamondbacks have a bigger, largest deal in history than the Cubs. The Cubs have never handed out $200 million to anybody, and now the Diamondbacks have done so for Corbin Burns. So I thought it was comical. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the private equity stuff and the just the payroll type stuff for Wednesday's show, or excuse me, for Tuesday's show, as part of the negatives of 2024. And I just think this was just a little bit more of that. Just like, man, I just wish we were in conversation with him at all, because that's the exact type of guy we're looking for, right? You can slot him right between Steele and Imanaga, and the only thing that keeps us, and please don't be fooled by, oh no, it just wasn't the right fit. It was a totally fine fit. The Cubs just, they don't want to spend the money, and that's fine. But it's not. So that was my initial reaction. And then my second reaction was, of course, what we're going to talk about is, Cubs will face him maybe the first game of the year. My guess is that Gallen will get the first game just out of respect since he's the incumbent there. But Arizona's good. Like, they're a better team. Like, they're a better team than the Cubs, just flat out on paper. They're a good team. So they obviously have to deal with the Dodgers, but they're a really good team. I mean, Gallen and Fott and Burns and Kelly. And then they got Carroll, and they picked up Naylor, and Marte was what did he finish? Top 5-6 in the MVP last year. They're a good team.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Fangraphs, Sam, has the Diamondbacks as the fifth best team right now.
Yeah, they're a really good team. It doesn't surprise me. I mean, and they how many games they win last year? 89, I think it was. And they had a lot of closer issues. They had a lot of things not go their way that way. They're really good. Them, the Dodgers, the Padres, Giants, all four of those. Basically, everybody but the Rockies is going to have aspirations of making the postseason in the West, and it just kind of hones in that the Cubs' really only path to the postseason will be winning the Central.
Yeah, I had a lot of baseball thoughts over the weekend as we get closer to the season. And Cubs begin the season with a challenging slate. We know they have the 2 in Japan against the Dodgers, but then they open the regular season here stateside with 7 on the road, 4 in AZ, 3 in Sacramento, as the A's debut out there. Mm-hmm. And even just thinking about the projected opposing starters, this is a good opening, for them. And it's a nice challenge right away. Probably going to face Yamamoto day 1, and then either Snell or Glasnow day 2.
Yep.
Because Ohtani's not going to be ready till late April as a pitcher. Diamondbacks, some combo of Burns, Gallen, Kelly, and then a lefty, either Eduardo Rodriguez or Jordan Montgomery or Brandon Pfaadt as well.
Pfaadt's good.
And then the A's, a couple new additions for them, and Severino and Spring. So some good pitching they're going to be facing out of the gates, and they'll need to be 5-4 when they return to Wrigley.
Yeah. So I know you're joking.
No, that's a good goal though. 5-4.
So are you ready to announce my show resolution for New Year's?
Oh gosh. Okay.
I'm not schedule projecting anymore. I'm done with it.
Last the Cubs have to be this record by this time, by this thing.
Especially not until we get to like summertime. Because like last year, I was really concerned about the April schedule, and April went marvelous. And then in May and June, we completely collapsed against bad teams, the Reds and the Division. my only focus this year is I want to win the Central. I want to be better than the Brewers. I'm not worried if you want to play good teams. If you're going to play good teams, you might as well play them early when the Dodgers don't really care, like in April. And so I'm not 5-4 early, because every time we do that, it happens, and then they still find a way. It doesn't work out. So I'm not worried. I'm not doing hey, the Cubs need to do this, this, and this. I'm not doing that until midsummer, unless we have a May and June like we did last year, where we need to crank up the urgency and get it going. But it's just, hey, we had a great April last year, and then May and June we were the second or third worst team in all the land.
Coming up next to close us out, we're going to talk about
you really mastered that. It's like a
convention. Stay tuned.
Welcome
back to Locked On Cubs. Last segment of the show here. I will be back on Friday. Sam will be back on Tuesday for the last episode of 20.
What an honor, by the way. Thank you. I get to close out the year.
Wow. The Cubs announced last week that Kyle Tucker will be at Cubs convention.
Mm-hmm.
It's exciting. And then on Sunday, they announced that Sammy Sosa has accepted his invite to the convention, which is January 17, 18, and 19 at the Sheraton Grand in Chicago. Opening ceremonies with current and former player introductions will be that Friday night, along with the Cubs Hall of Fame announcement, which may or may not include Sosa in that. And before all of those festivities, we will be hosting a meetup to warm up for the convention. I would like to debut a graphic for that. That's 4 to 5:30 at the Shy Bar, right inside the Sheraton Grand. Shoot, even if you're not going to the convention, you could do this meetup, but probably more likely for the convention folks, especially the dead of winter right there. And we will be also with Kyle Stanley from the Setup Man. And then in addition to Friday's meetup, even if you can't make it, but you're going to the convention, we'll be around Friday and Saturday at the Sheraton Grand, Sam. So very exciting stuff. And I'm proud of the graphic I made in Canva.
I'm posting that graphic to my Instagram and Twitter today.
I need to send that to you.
No, you sent it. You changed a couple things?
I changed a little bit that you probably couldn't tell, but I'll just give you the new one.
Well, I just want to publicly thank you for using a photo of me where I look like a regular human. Because sometimes when we post stuff and like I think there's
I thought that was your best show picture. That was the cap. So both of our photos are from the cap episode.
That was the best show picture you've ever used, because usually you use a shot of me where like I'm looking over here, or I'm doing something like this. Like when I do my watch along.
Here's our first show picture.
Well, no, please leave that alone. Please. I mean, I don't know what's going on. We're really they shouldn't even let us do video.
Well, they should have signed us at that point.
Yeah. Okay. Come check us out. Check us out tomorrow. We'll have a fun end of the year episode. We'll be informal stuff. I'll just be doing my thing.
Thank you so much for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 20 to 30 minutes. We'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube as make the push to 12,000 subs. Smash the like button for the algorithm and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcast. For me, one last time in 2024, catch Sam back on Tuesday. Then we'll both be back on Friday.
Great year out of you.
He's Sam Olber. I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.
Yeah.
See ya.